Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about how to play my acoustic version of Money by Pink Floyd. Posted this video a few years ago and get lots of requests for it all the time for a tutorial or tabs or whatever. I don't have any tabs for it, but I'm going to do my best right now to explain how to play the song, and most of it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. The first thing I need to talk about though is the tuning of the guitar is half step down. The tuning, each string is E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and E flat. That's just to help with my singing voice. It's a little easier in my range, I guess, that way. And so, but I'm going to be talking about the chords as if they were in standard tuning. So for example, the first chord of the song is a B minor chord. It would sound like B flat on guitar in standard tuning, but I still call it a B minor chord instead of B flat, just because it's easier to think about it that way. So B minor, really standard chord, but if you're not familiar, it's the second fret on the A string with your first finger, the fourth fret on the D string with your ring finger, the fourth fret on the G string with your pinky, the third fret with your middle finger on the B string, and then barring the high E string with your first finger right across. So your bottom of your first finger gets that note. And that's the first chord, and that's for a majority of the song we're playing that chord. And so that's the first little rhythm sequence that we're doing. Hitting the root note, which is the A string or the B of that chord, followed by a down, up. And then, after that, we start to kind of implement the bass line of the song, because the original does this sort of the song is really based around a bass line. That's kind of the hook to the song. But so what I've done is I've tried to kind of blend a bit of like the guitar chords that are happening in the background along with the bass line. So I kind of do that by using the B minor chord there, and then I use the second half of the bass line, which is F sharp, A, so that's the second fret on the E string, the fifth fret on the E string with your first finger, and then I use my pinky, and then it's the same frets on the A string, so we're going to go from the B to the D, which is the second fret, to the fifth fret, again, first finger, pinky finger, and that's it. 2, 5, 2, 5 on the E string and the A string, and then we're back to this chord progression. I also do this little upstroke before the bass line. I do an upstroke, and most of the time I kind of grab the D string, so you kind of hear that. So it just gives it that little spike right before the bass line. I'm not even really doing that intentionally, it's more of a feel thing, and I don't always grab that string. Sometimes I just kind of hit a general upstroke across the strings, but it just adds a little extra kind of nuance to it that sounds cool, I guess. And I'm doing all those bass notes like on the bass line with downstrokes. I mean, there's so much time you don't need to alternate or anything like that. It's easier to pound out the rhythm with the downstrokes. So that takes care of the majority of the song, is just playing that riff. And then the chorus, I go to an F sharp minor chord. I play it with my thumb, playing the root note at the second fret, and then I use the other fingers to grab the rest of the shape. But it's just a standard F sharp minor chord with the first finger on the low E string, second fret, third finger on the A string, fourth fret, pinky on the D string, fourth fret, and then the first finger barring the other notes on the second fret. And if you want to play that with your thumb, you bring your first finger down to cover those bottom 3 strings at the second fret, and then the thumb comes up as well on the second fret. So then that part rhythmically is just downstrokes. going down on the F sharp minor. I put it down one more fret to the F minor, exact same chord, just at the first fret, and then I just follow these two fingers that are remaining. I put them in the second fret, and then we have an E minor chord, and that's kind of heavily palm muted. And we're back to the main riff. So F sharp minor, F minor, E minor. Back to the main riff. Maybe the only other important thing to talk about is that the song is in a 7/4 time signature, and so that kind of complicates things a little bit, but if you're familiar with the song and how it goes and how the words correspond with that time signature, it makes it a little easier. That's how I approach it. I'm not like counting in my head or thinking about the timing like that. It's just kind of good maybe to listen to the song and do your best to play along with the riff and see if you can kind of keep yourself up on that time signature and not be adding an extra beat or thinking about it too much. You want it to be natural. So yeah, so keep that in mind. And then the only other thing, I think that's basically it as far as the rhythm goes, or as far as the main riff goes. I'm doing another little thing coming out of the chorus. That little riff there, I'm just sliding up to the E with my pinky and back down to the D again. So that's just a little variation that I do in there. So the next part we can talk about is the solo. And for the solo, I go back to, or I go to like a standard 4/4 time signature. I'm not continuing with the 7/4 feel, just because I don't think they do that in the song. I think they actually switch it around. I think the sax solo's in 7, but the guitar solo's in 4. I can't remember. So anyway, the chords that I'm basing it off of are a B minor 7 and a G 13. So that's kind of what's playing in my head while I'm playing it. Sometimes I'm trying to play those chords as well, but in between I'm adding all these little licks and stuff, but I'm trying to keep that rhythm going with those two chords. And so to play those two chords, again, I play them usually with my thumb playing the root note, but you can play them as bar chords as well. So the B minor 7 is the 7th fret, barring pretty much all the strings, and then your A string plays, sorry, your third finger plays the A string at the 9th fret. So you get this chord. And then if you play with your thumb, the first finger doesn't have to do as much work. And actually, when I'm playing it this way, with my first finger barring the D, G, and B strings, and my thumb playing that note at the 7th fret, the B, I'm actually not even playing the high E string. The high string is kind of out of the equation then, so it sounds, you're hearing that as opposed to, so if you bar it, you're likely to hear the high E string more so than if you play it this way with your thumb on top, just because of the way your hand is built. It's going to be a little harder to get that high E string into the mix. So that's your first chord, B minor 7, to G 13, which is these notes. So that's the G on the 3rd fret, low E string, first finger, and the D at the A string, ring finger, 5th fret, and then we're playing, if you're going to do this as a bar chord, your first finger is still going to bar all of the 3rd fret, your middle finger is going to play the G string at the 4th fret, and then your pinky is going to play the B string at the 5th fret. I don't play it this way though, I find it a whole lot easier to play with my thumb playing the G, First finger playing the F there at the 3rd fret, D string. Middle finger playing the B at the G string, 4th fret. And my pinky playing the E at the B string, 5th fret. And then if I need to, I play my ring finger on the D at the A string, 5th fret. So those are the 2 chords. And then the rhythm of that, if you want to just as a rhythm exercise without doing any of the licks, just playing that root note first, followed by down up. And then just doing little shots. And then when we get down to the G, doing a root note, down up. And there's some muted strokes in there as well. So that's how you want to think about the rhythm part of that section. And the solo, I'm kind of mixing a bunch of different scales together. I'm at times thinking about B Dorian. So you can look that scale up online and you can follow along a little bit with what I'm doing. Then I'm also sometimes just doing regular B minor. The difference being that the Dorian mode is playing the G sharp, and the minor scale is just playing the natural G. So when I'm playing the B minor chord, I kind of have the freedom to play that note. I can play that G sharp, but as soon as I go to the G7 chord, the G sharp is going to sound really funny. So because it's the G7 or sorry, the G13 chord is just you know the natural G is the G you want to use. You're not going to play the sharp G because that's just going to sound out of whack. But over the B chord, that note's going to sound fine. So when I go to the G13 chord, I make sure to play that G instead. So that's kind of how I try to think about that part. And then sometimes I'm also playing the harmonic minor. So those are the 3 scales: the B Dorian, B Aeolian or minor scale, and then the B harmonic minor. And those are the 3 that I'm thinking about. And then if I can talk about some of the licks that I'm doing, I have to kind of remember how the solo goes. So we kind of... So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is very like Stevie Ray Vaughan-esque licks. So using my first finger and the thumb on top to kind of free my other fingers up to do a lot of the lead work. And so a lot of those chords that you're hearing are the result of my first finger holding down the bottom 4 strings at the 7th fret, and then my 3rd finger or pinky grabbing the other notes at the 9th fret or 10th fret, whatever I can, doing little slides in and out. And always trying to resolve back to that G13 chord. And on the first part, I do a big slide up to the 12th fret on the B. And then I'm sliding up to the B at the 12th fret. that's a little riff that I play using the triad. So I'm playing, so that's 9 and 8, sliding up to 11 and 10, back to 9 and 8, barring the 7th fret, and then on the D and G strings I'm playing the 11th and 9th, and then the 9th and 7th. So B and G strings, D and G strings. So you can follow those around, and you can find a whole lot more melodic possibilities by using triads like that. They're really, really nice tools to use. And then the next part, I go to the E minor 7 chord. I do this little chord riff. So that's a standard E minor 7 chord with the root note at the A string, 7th fret, 1st finger. The ring finger at the D string, 9th fret, 1st finger barring the 7th fret on the G string, middle finger playing the B string at the 8th fret, and then the 1st finger also barring the 7th fret on the high E string. Gives you E minor 7. And then I'm just taking that shape with the same rhythm, put it up 2 frets, and just kind of sliding down. And then the next part, I add my pinky to the mix. So going to the 12th fret, adding that little suspended note. Moving it back to the 9th fret on the the E minor 7 chord, and then I slide from underneath the chord, sliding up to the E minor 7. So you get all these different sounds of kind of chromatically moving around the chord, just a really cheap, easy way of making it sound jazzy without knowing a whole lot about jazz. And then these two really different sounding chords that I use to resolve and come back to the B minor 7 is just a C13 chord. So the same chord that we played down here at G, the G13, if you figured that out, you can play that same chord at the C. I'm just descending up from I play the root note, play the A string, and then B, G, D, upstrokes. And then the next chord I play is a really, I don't even know what the name of that chord is. It's B flat 7 with a augmented 5th, I guess. So it's like B7 augmented, something like that. So then that chord is at the 7th or 6th fret with the thumb, on the root note. Then the 6th fret on the D string with your 1st finger, and then the G string 7th fret with your ring finger, B string 7th fret with your pinky. So you have and then back to the main. Just more licks in between the two chords, and then I go back to the turnaround, the main turnaround of the song, with an F sharp 7 chord, chromatically moving back to the E minor 7 chord just like we did earlier in the solo. Those same 2 chords again, back to the original part. And then I think that's it until the very end of the song, after I finish the last chorus. I think, what do I do? It's like just going up to a D major 7 to an E minor 7 there on that part, and then I'm into a descending. So that part is just B minor 7 to G7, F sharp 7. So you can just play a standard major bar chord, take away your pinky, and that gives you a 7th chord, or a G7 or F sharp 7, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. I play them with my thumb though again. Wait, sorry. And that's essentially the whole song. So hopefully most of that wasn't too crazy and hard to understand. I'm trying to get used to making these videos, so bear with my my teaching abilities in this capacity. But I guess to finish it off, maybe the most important thing to remember is with a lot of it is to really try to get used to muting that bass note so that the chord is really sharp. You don't. If that bass note's too loud, it kind of takes away, I guess, from maybe the smoothness or the clearness, the clarity of everything that's going on. So really trying to muffle that top note through everything keeps everything a little bit more kind of contained, and as well it's easier to sing over top of. So muting is really, really important in all aspects of guitar playing, both left hand and right hand. So really pay attention to that. And yeah, if you have any questions, hit me up on Facebook, send me a message, and I'll do my best to answer any problems anybody has. And thanks for watching, and I will be back soon. Take care.